The following contest is scheduled for one fall, and it is for the VCW Liberty Championship. Introducing first the challenger, hailing from Robbinsdale, Minnesota, weighing in at 191 pounds, Mr. Xcellence,
the first of 4 title matches this evening. We'll see the U.S. Liberty title on the line here in Norfolk, Virginia. Virginia Championship Wrestling. I am Jason Heat alongside Brandon Metheny. In the absence, in the retirement of George Pantis, it seemed like maybe Jerry Stefanitsis would be able to run wild, that there would be no checks and balances, but it has turned out to be slightly different than that, because the board of directors is now stepping in the absence of a commissioner, and that means that Jerry Stefanitsis has been watched a little bit more intently. And this man, Brandon Scott, is the beneficiary of that, because Brandon Scott has been in the doghouse with Jerry Stefanitsis. He has been targeted, he has been harassed, he has been put in a number of unwinnable situations. And so Brandon Scott's recent win-loss record does not reflect the caliber or competitor that Brandon Scott is. And with that understanding, the board of directors has offered Brandon Scott the opportunity to cement his legacy here in VCW, because Brandon is a former VCW Virginia heavyweight champion. He has done almost everything there is to do in this company, but he has never been the Liberty champion. Could that change right
now? Introducing his opponent, accompanied to the ring by the manager of champions, Neil Sharkey, hailing from Charm City, weighing in at 200 pounds. He is the champion of freedom, the Spice, Saul Esparza.
The undisputed winner of the Sharkey Tank Civil War, the Spice, Saul Esparza. And not only does he have the spoils of Neil Sharkey in his corner, more importantly, he has the spoils of the U.S. Liberty Championship around his belt. Saul Esparza considers himself now the champion of freedom, but he is nothing but a little goon as far as Devontes and many other members of their locker room are concerned. Saul Esparza was the winner of the George Washington Memorial Parkway Battle Royal that earned him the shot at the U.S. Liberty Champion. And there's the attitude that we have seen from day one from Saul Esparza, who shined in last year's Young Lions challenges, literally getting in the face of anyone and everyone. And that confidence has been rewarded with gold a year into his tenure in this company.
Look, Saul Esparza never lacking for confidence. Sometimes that sort of thing gets your teeth kicked down your throat, but sometimes, like you said, Jason, it wins you championships.
Brandon Scott has struggled in recent months. That's absolutely true. And a little bit of humility has gone a long way in terms of an attitude adjustment for Brandon Scott, who has looked more rejuvenated, refreshed, and focused in the last 6 months than we have seen him in a long time.
He really has. It's been remarkable to see, and he seems to be relaxing and enjoying himself in the ring, and that's producing victories. It's allowing him to. He's getting out of his own head and showing why he is one of the longest reigning VCW champions of all time, and now going for a championship that he has never held, the VCW Championship.
This is a chance not only to turn it all around for Brandon Scott, but really to prove that he is 100% the best of the best in the history of this company.
And I really wonder if Brandon Scott maybe sees a little of himself in Saul Esparza. When he was a young man and had that same ego and just wanted all of it. He wanted the chances. He wanted to beat everyone, take on everyone. I wonder if he sees himself a little bit.
Saul Esparza looking to make his first defense of the Liberty title after defeating Devontes, who held the title for a bit more than 6 months. Esparza was very resentful that this match was made, Brandon. He said that Brandon represents the old guard of VCW, and to be fair, this is actually pretty true, that Brandon only received this match because of his name and his legacy, not because of his recent accomplishments. And that is hard to argue with.
Yeah, it's not wrong, but I also don't know that it's fair. I mean, yes, Brandon Scott has gotten this championship match because of his legacy, because of all the work he's done here, but those are real wins, those are real championships.
Real accomplishments.
Exactly. And it's a sort of thing that the powers that be here at VCW, the board of directors, looks at this and says, you know what? This is a guy who has earned this championship because of the full body of his work.
Well, pro wrestling often very much a what have you done for me lately kind of business, and that is why there is some merit to Saul's aspersions or assertions. This bell ringing, this match finally underway. But if there is anyone in the roster that deserves the benefit of the doubt, it is the self-described greatest VCW champion of all time, Brandon Scott.
And also, let's be clear here. Brandon Scott's been winning matches recently. It's not like he's on a huge losing streak. He's been winning matches, not for championships, but still he's been getting back on the right side of things. So I think it's totally justified to have this championship match.
It's fair to say, though, that of late, Brandon has trouble winning the big one. He has gotten the opportunities, but then not been able to finagle the victory out of it. That's not to cast aspersions on Brandon Scott. It's just looking at the recent track record, and I think Brandon knows this is maybe a last shot, right? The board of directors offers him this match, and if he comes up short, I don't know that we see Brandon Scott make his way to the front of the line for quite a long time.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, this is the winning the big match has been a mental block for him, I think, is the best way to look at it. He just hasn't been able to get those wins, and this, yeah, you're right, this may be it, but out there throwing arm drags.
You brought it up earlier that these two very evenly matched, maybe cut from a similar cloth, and we are seeing that as they match each other, move for move, hold for hold, perfect positioning, and about 1.75 on that first pinning predicament.
And that was a situation where you saw Saul's ego get the better, where he caught Brandon Scott, thinking he could do something, but didn't have the power to get Brandon Scott over the top for a suplex, and Brandon was able to turn it into a move of his own.
Great strike on display by Brandon Scott.
And also, by the way, we talk about Brandon Scott. Let's be clear, Saul Esparza did not win that championship on his own.
Well, he's not on his own right now either, though. So
no, but you know what I mean, Jason. He had a lot of help with that. So there's something for him to prove here, too, that he can win this championship, retain this championship, without a bunch of help from the Sharky Tank.
Well, clearly, right now, Saul Esparza is at the top of the food chain. He's the top shark in the tank. That means that Neil Sharkey sees that he is the future he wants to invest in. For a man that cares as much about his money as Sharkey does, that's quite a statement.
Wow!
Up and over. There is no padding on the outside. Things may have taken a real turn for the worse for the top of the food chain.
Yeah, I mean, that was about a 10-foot fall, maybe. I mean, that was a very, very high fall, and landing hard on that floor to blow out knees, ankles, things like that. And Brandon Scott's gonna fly.
These are those high-risk moves, those high-risk opportunities that we have not seen Brandon Scott take in recent months, but now, with the adulation of the fans in his ears, he is inspired to do things we thought were long outside the Brandon Scott repertoire.
I was going to say, the fans showing him their love with that, and really, you got to believe it keeps him motivated, gets him fired up, and there's Neil Sharkey paying dividends as he always does.
Neil Sharkey picks his spots, makes them effective, and Saul Esparza bringing a little spice right to the face of Brandon Scott.
And it's worth pointing out, of course, Saul Esparza is the champion. He has to be beaten in the ring to lose the championship. Double counter here, fine with him. He keeps the title.
Disqualification, fine as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Unless he is pinned or submitted by Brandon Scott, he keeps championship. Being on the outside is a good place for him.
Scott has to win this match. The championship advantage for Saul Esparza. He was one of the final 4 in last year's Liberty Lottery, and now taking a moment to rest, relax, and recover. Saul Esparza, cool as a cucumber.
Hey, a countout works just as well as a pin or a submission does. And Neil Sharkey circling on the outside, holding that Liberty Championship.
The direct deposit clears the same way no matter how you win.
And from our vantage point, Jason, we have not, oh, there he is. Brandon Scott pulling himself to his feet, getting back in the ring at a count of 8, I believe.
Gotta appreciate just the temerity of Saul Esparza as soon as Brandon Scott sticks his fingers into the ring, stepping on it, and now beautiful Northern Lights suplex with the bridge. Saul Esparza is 22 years old. 22 years old, already Liberty champion, already this good.
The sky's the limit. I mean, there's just no two ways about it.
Incredible.
You can take issue with the way he won the championship, but he won the championship. It's success, and it's success that he has proven again and again. He's not a flash in the pan, and at 22 years old, it's hard to imagine what the future could be for this young man.
With no respect for the past by Saul Esparza, says that Devontae was the first of the old guard that Saul Esparza was going to rinse up, and Devontae's not really even that old of the guard. And there's that better call Saul lariat.
And this could, I mean, I think Brandon Scott's out.
Knee across the chest. And Brandon Scott, at the last moment, able to break free.
And look, I know you have to be true to who you are, and being cocky and arrogant is true to who Saul Esparza is. I've got to believe with a better, more traditional cover on that, he wins the match right there.
Brandon Scott looking to cement his legacy here.
And Neil Sharkey holding up the championship on the outside, and Brandon Scott's face, mocking him with the title belt. Just, I mean, Brandon Scott in a bad way. And like you said, this could really be a finale for him if he can't get this job done.
Grounded in the center of the ring after those hammer and tongue elbows. There's a lot of bark to Saul Esparza, but he has just as much bite. He is vicious and dangerous.
He has an incredible strength as well. Arm dropping, his arm drops one more time. This is over.
A decisive win for Saul Esparza, and it really looked like that arm went down, but
yeah, no kidding. I mean, from our vantage point, that went past Brandon Scott's shoulder, but didn't hit the mat, and he's still in this match.
Brandon Scott fighting for the title, fighting for opportunities, and that
shot to the kidneys.
Yeah, that lower back has got to be in bad shape after that.
I mean, that sort of thing, just that pain radiates through your body.
Instinctual counter by Brandon Scott. Both men now down, both in need of recovery.
Yeah, we're now seeing the impacts of that kidney shot to Brandon Scott. Yes, to your point, the instinct's able to get it for that back suplex, but now really showing the effects of that, trying to get it from the mat.
No one wants to lose a title in their first defense. There's a very specific kind of shame in the world of professional wrestling to be a title holder with no successful defenses. You cannot imagine the level of just ick that Saul Esparza would feel under those circumstances. There's a lot of pressure on every champion in that first defense.
Sure, for everything we talked about the heights that he could get to, losing the championship tonight could shatter everything. It can break you.
Impressive combination offense right now by Brandon Scott. We're going to test the resiliency of Saul Esparza right now. We know that Brandon Scott is battle tested. We know he can come back from a beating. How well can Saul Esparza turn things around?
Esparza spiked on top of his head. This could be it.
Shoulder up, and for the first time, there is a look of fear in the eyes of Brandon Scott. There is the realization that this could slip through his fingers.
Well, he still has some of his biggest weapons still in his quiver, but he needs to just stay on it, looking for perhaps the Scott Buster here, maybe the Slice of Excellence. We'll see, but there's some weapons there he just needs to hit them.
Dangerous positioning for Brandon Scott.
Oh, being distracted by Neil Sharkey.
Neil Sharkey never wanted to let an opportunity pass, and that was perfectly valid. There was no physical contact. That was purely getting in the head of Brandon Scott.
Drew Brandon's attention for 1 second, and that was enough for Saul Esparza to take control of this match. And you gotta believe this superplex could end things.
Of course. Neil Sharkey really bet the farm on Saul Esparza, had Devontae in his stable and gave up the Haas of all Haas's for the upside he sees in Saul Esparza. Can Saul pay that off? And now biting the face of Brandon Scott. It's not sanitary.
No, it's not. Oh, but Scott keeps his wits about him. The kick to the ankle, to the chin. This could be it right here.
There's a fire in the belly of Brandon Scott. 2 count only. Can that fire only be quenched by gold?
I understand Scott's frustration here. I understand he's hit some of his biggest maneuvers, but and you can see in his body language, he's not sure what's left. There's just 2. He's got to stay on Saul Esparza. He has to press the advantage he has here. If there's no way around it, it's the only way he's going to win this match.
Opportunity right now for Saul Esparza to really cement himself as a champion in this company. We say it often, it's one thing to win a title, it's another thing to retain it. It's a totally different thing to be the guy. Look at the strength of Saul Esparza.
Impressive gut wrench bomb there. Very innovative maneuver. Brandon Scott able to kick out though.
And that cover, you talked earlier about maybe the cockiness of an earlier cover. That was not cocky. That was a very full body cover, taking full advantage of the momentum of that landing, full body. And now Neil Sharkey. Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Hang on a second. Oh boy, Neil Sharkey, I hope you have your last will and testament in order, buddy.
Devontae, who successfully
Esparza's
defeated
got the belt
LBJ earlier, and now using the distraction as Devontae is gonna basically give Saul the victory, and instead the referee distracted not only from the belt shot.
Hang on, here we go. Just 2. The distraction was enough for Brandon to kick out.
It looked like maybe Devontae was gonna give the victory to Esparza, but then it circled all the way around and took the referee's attention away. And now Saul Esparza is alone on the outside because Neil Sharkey is in another counting.
Yeah, frankly, I don't think Devontae has cared much about the match. He's wanted to get to Neil Sharkey, but yeah, Esparza on his own now for the first time ever.
One belt shot took down Brandon Scott, this time fully visible by the referee, and slice of excellence! Holy Lord! Can he? He did it!
He's winning, and the new VCW champion, Mr. Xcellence, Brandon Scott!
On paper, it looked like Brandon Scott was being gifted a title opportunity for years of dedicated service. It didn't seem possible that Brandon Scott could actually start 2024 holding the only title in this company that he had never held. But if we're learning anything, it's never count out Mr. Excellence. And now, for the first time in his illustrious career, Brandon Scott is the Liberty Champion.